Welcome, everyone, to Coffee and an Interview. It's Jacqueline Pena, and I'm so excited to have Becky Hurley here with us today. We're going to talk about building dreams, finding personal and financial freedom through healing. Personal and financial freedom, very powerful topic. Welcome to the show, Becky.
Well, thank you, Jacqueline, for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, I'm excited about the topic, looking at it from both angles, the personal and financial freedom. I think a lot of us don't even know how to define freedom in these terms. And so I wanted to get started by having you share a little bit about what you mean by personal and financial freedom. What's the operational definition that we're
Ooh,
working with today?
yeah. Oh, I love that question. Thank you so much. So, personal and financial freedom to me means the holistic being. So, when I started my business, which we'll get into, I was all in for financial freedom only. Like, I just want to get to the money. I don't want to depend on anybody. I want money. I want finances. And what I learned through this journey, which you can read in my book, Building Dreams, is that on the journey to creating financial freedom, which I did, I learned that you can make all the money in the world, but if you are not healthy enough to enjoy it, none of it matters. And
Ooh.
that is where the personal freedom comes in, because I come from a background of a lot of just hardship and trauma and stuff that was stored away. And I never told anybody until the release of my book. Well, I have through therapy and other people. And now I speak on stages and talk about this. But I've learned that inner healing is what matters most, but the finances do help to get there. So that's kind of my definition of personal and financial freedom, is the personal freedom to actually enjoy the financial freedom that you create.
Oh, great operational definition there. And I like how you talk about being healthy enough, and it's not about physical health, it's that mental, emotional, inner health as well.
100%. 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit. We're gonna get into your company in a moment, but I want to hear about a little bit about how you started on this journey for looking for personal financial freedom. What made you say, I need to work on this for myself and I need to then share this with others?
Yeah. So I started out life as a teacher. Well, I started out my adult life as a teacher. I thought I was going to be a lifer as a public school teacher, and I only taught for 1 year. And what
Oh,
I found was thinking, how do you go from thinking you're going to be a lifer to 1 year and done? And I haven't gone back to the traditional role of a teacher, but I always knew that I was going to come back and teach, which is I feel like where I'm at now on your podcast and at other stages and other speaking platforms is I get to teach this. I realized that what I had grown up with people saying, money isn't everything and money doesn't buy happiness and all of these things, that when I became a teacher, I was like, well, it doesn't matter, right? Money doesn't matter. I'm doing what I love. I'm teaching. And then the pay that I received for my teaching career was not, I never really took money into consideration because everyone told me not to take money into consideration. So I never took into consideration how much teachers would make and what is my dream? Like what is my dream life? And nobody ever asked me, like, what kind of dream life do I want to live? And nobody ever asked me, how much is that going to cost? And that is what I share in my book, Building Dreams. And that's what I share in stages now, is like, you can dream big. And what do you think that's going to cost? And now let's figure out how you can get there. And so that's what set me on my journey of like, hey, nobody talks about this and why. And so that's where it started, is like just that curiosity of why. Like, why doesn't anybody talk about this? One, and how can I get there? And now that I've gotten there, I'm like, all right, we are now sharing this with other people too, because I cannot keep this to myself.
it's like the next level of career day, right? We have career day as kids. What do you want to be when you grow up? And then as we get older, it gets, kind of a little bit more cemented. I want to be a teacher, a police officer. You go to college, you study
Yeah.
something, and it's like, oh, I want to be a teacher. And you're right. No, at no point does anyone ask, especially in college. I think that's the time what kind of life do you want to live? Where do you want to be? And then is this career choice going to get you there? Do you need to make a modification somewhere? What's that connection? And we don't have those conversations until after we're in our careers and we're like, well, I want this or I want to live this way.
Mhm.
So it's definitely a very you're teaching. It's a big piece that we need
Totally.
in the life puzzle, and you're there teaching us this piece that we're missing.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm excited to do it. I'm excited.
I know, and I could feel it. I feel it. I see it. Now you have a company and you have a book, and you talk a lot about financial freedom through both. But I want to learn more about your company first. Tell us a little bit about Building Dreams.
So, Building Dreams Co. started as the personal development brand side of my business. So, I have several other businesses in real estate and home building. My husband and I have been fix and flippers since before fix and flipping was a thing. We have built over 100 custom homes. We own over 130 rental units. All of that is amazing, and it's what helps support the personal development brand, Building Dreams Co. And so, Building Dreams to me is the teaching, the education, the book, the podcast that will be soon to come for my Building Dreams podcast, and wanting to really teach the stuff that nobody talks about. It's both the personal freedom and the financial freedom. I talk about healing. I talk about inner work. I talk about all the taboo stuff nobody wants to talk about there, setting boundaries with people that, may you need to set boundaries with in your life, but then healing from that when maybe your world falls apart. And then I talk about money, which is also a taboo topic. I talk about creating $1 million years, creating a multi-million dollar business. How do you do that? Why is that also a taboo topic? And so I just love that's kind of what Building Dreams is to me, is the education side of it and wanting to get the message out there that you can do both. You can heal, you can create financial freedom. And I did this as a means to become a better wife and mom. So when I had my 2 young children, I knew that I wanted to break the generational cycles of trauma that I had come from. And I had always known that my whole life, but it was never really tested until I had children. And so to me, this Building Dreams Co-brand is me getting to share that with the next ones, the next moms, the next entrepreneurs, the next people who just want to break through the glass ceiling, break the mold, break the norm, just break out of that and build the life of their dreams.
Yeah, I love that you're teaching it. And I love the example here of an entrepreneur who's not made up of just one company and one source of revenue, thinking about the business side, but you've created something where you have a couple of sources of revenue.
Yes.
They're aligned in some way, right? And then you were able to then have this great additional piece for your dreams. This is amazing. Now, how can I help others and build that company? And it's a great strategy on the business side. I always go into the business side and I apologize, but I just love how everything comes together and
Yeah,
you're able to build that. It's not the traditional career that we're taught
totally.
to follow in school, right? You build your dream.
Yeah. When I spoke at a high school, I was asked to speak at a high school classroom, a business classroom, and I brought to their attention that in school, they typically, which I have not been in the school system recently, but they typically teach to the 16 career clusters of whatever, this is your options for the 16 career clusters. And I showed the class, I'm like, none of my LLCs are in any of these career clusters. None of them. None of them. Real estate, home building. I also have my real estate broker's license. Farming. I also farm too. My husband and I have a farm. And none of that. And then small motivational speaking, being an author. None of it is in a book or in the 16 career clusters, I should say. Sorry. None of it is actually like what they teach. And so yes, so that is just it's just a passion of mine to bring it forward from being a teacher to now I'm like, listen, this is what I want to teach you. You need to learn things like taxes.
Accounting, bookkeeping, taxes, how to get it all together.
Yeah.
But it's true though, and there are other pathways to come to that place of financial freedom, and we don't talk about different careers and different ways of earning money and different ways of getting there. Which brings us to your book, and we've pointed at it. It's a beautiful cover, by the way. I love it. It has a picture of you there for our listeners. Becky's front and center, and it says "Building Dreams" really big right below her picture. So wonderful cover. Tell us a little bit about your book and how that came about and how it brings it all together, everything you're working on.
So Building Dreams was originally the tagline for our home building company. I I always knew that we were building other people's dream homes, but we were also building our dreams. And so Building Dreams has a deep meaning for me since it was taken from the home building company that we built over 100 homes with. And the book, to me, I don't know, I've always known I was going to write a book for over a decade, and I didn't know what I was going to write it about. I come from a background in agriculture. So actually my very before teaching was all agriculture and farming. So I thought I was going to write a book about farming or, family farms or something like that. Cause I live in South Central Wisconsin. Wisconsin is a very agricultural state. And I just thought that maybe that's what it was going to be about. And then over the decade that I was thinking about, I'm going to write a book. That's when I became an entrepreneur, and I quit my job to become an entrepreneur. I went through depression after I quit my job to be an entrepreneur because nobody I knew 10 years ago had done that. Yeah. So you're
that.
you can relate, and all of my friends were employees. And so when I was going through my depression, they were like, why don't you just get a job? And I'm like, that's not the point. I'm going to make this work. And I remember not having a car for 9 months during that time. I mean, it was rough. And I just knew that whenever I reach success, I am going to write a book about it and I'm going to help the next ones. And what happened is after I met my husband, so I met my husband 1 year out of teaching, and I was working for a nonprofit at that time, also still an employee. Did that for 5 years. And he was an entrepreneur. He had his own landscaping company, kind of like that kid that starts, landscaping company right in high school. He was in high school, very successful, didn't have an email address, didn't have a website, nothing, just like the local landscaping guy. And when I met him, I was like, we should do real estate. I didn't even know what real estate was, but I had a friend who did fix and flip houses, and she was like, you should do this. And he knew a little bit about real estate. And so I mentioned that we start looking into real estate. And I just was like so gung-ho on financial freedom. So fast forward, we met and we were like just two power, like a power couple from the start. Like we started our own LLC right before we even got married. We started fixing and flipping properties 1 year before our wedding that we had planned. So we had our wedding planned, and I remember going to banks and they were like, you guys are taking big risks. You're not even married yet. And we're like, shoot, we don't care about that. We're ready to roll. Like, let's go. And now I just know that like what we have done is not typical, right? Not the norm. And I think what it took was just guts and bravery and each other, like having each other and having a partner with you is crucial. Like it doesn't have to be your spouse. It could be a sibling or a family member, but having a partner that's like, you're kind of like your ride or die has been really impactful. So anyway, long story short, 10 years after we started our real estate company, I had written that in 10 years, I hope to have created $1 million a year and created our definition of financial freedom. And at the 10-year mark of our business, we created our first $1 million a year and created our definition of financial freedom. And then I knew it's time to write the book.
I knew what it would be about.
I knew it was time. Yeah.
Wow. So 10 years ago, how long ago was that you said this book?
So it was actually when I started writing the book, it was 2021. So it's taken me 3 years to get this book out there. But we had reached our $1 million a year and our definition of financial freedom in the year of 2020, which is wild. Wild. And that's why I'm here to talk about real estate too, because when everybody else was crashing and burning, we were like having success. And I'm like, how do I share this on social media? I cannot share this on social media right now. But now I'm getting to the point where I'm like, we need to start teaching about real estate too. So yeah.
Yeah, and so through real estate, you found your financial freedom.
Yeah.
Through other means, you found your personal freedom to
Yeah.
enjoy your financial freedom. And I was hoping we could talk a little bit about how those two came together for you. You gave us a great operational definition early on. And then I want to dive into some tips and strategies for us, for our listeners. How do we get to this place? How do we figure out how do we get to financial freedom? But let's hear a little bit about that combo, because I see a lot of people struggling with the personal freedom. I see a lot of people struggling with financial freedom. A lot of us are struggling with both
Yeah.
and putting that together. I mean, how did you do that?
Gosh, it's been a whirlwind because I know that when I sat down to write the book, my whole goal was to talk about entrepreneurship and bootstrapping and women empowerment, and you can start a business, and if I can do it, you can too. And then as I was writing it, I was like, how much of my background do I need to share in this? And I hired 2 different book coaches to help me because I was like, I don't know how to share my background. And then within 6 months, I was like, I'm going to share my stories. And so I think for me, I didn't know how to combine the healing, like the personal freedom and the financial freedom. And that's what I needed I needed a book coach for. But here's what I have learned. That I wanted nothing more than to break the cycle of generational trauma in my life. And having my children, I mean, my children watched me grow our home building company. My kids went to closings on their due dates. Like we were crazy, wild, like hustle, right? Because we were desperate to like have it be successful. And so it's like, whatever the kids are coming with, like toting them around in their bucket car seats, as babies. And I knew that I needed to heal inside so that once they became toddlers and once they test you with all of their things that they test you with as at that age, that's when I could see that I had not healed on the inside. I had not healed. There was anger coming out. All the stuff that I had grown up with was like starting to come out.
Yeah.
And I knew like, hey, I reached $1 million a year in financial freedom, but I have not healed. And my body was breaking down. And what I've learned is that if you don't do the work to heal the trauma, it actually lodges inside your body until you heal it, until you go to therapy, until you hire coaching, until you go to, do prayer. Spiritual health was a health, one of the physical, mental, emotional. There is also spiritual health. Spiritual health was something I totally ignored. I would only pray to God when I was in desperation, like 911 emergency. Hello, is anybody up there? Hello, and that's not good spiritual health. And so to me, it's like a combination of all of that. And to me, it's a holistic. Like what I love about real estate is that it's the most sustainable, holistic means of building wealth in the fastest way that you can. But I also love the inner work and the healing so that you can sustain all of it and enjoy your life and take vacations with your kids and not just be a crazy person doing 1 million hours a week and running yourself ragged and burning your physical health down in the process. So to me, it's just a mixture. Like you get to do both.
Yeah. And it's amazing because a lot of times we give up one for the other, or we think we have to. We work hard on our career and we have to make that money. We have to get to that position. We have to get to 6 figures, but our personal freedom isn't there. We're not healthy. We haven't worked through our trauma. We're living a lifestyle, working 60, 70, 80 hours without the right kind of balance that we need. And a lot of things manifest themselves health-wise, physical health-wise, right? So that trauma can resurface through some kind of physical ailment. That stress leads to a bunch of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Stress is so bad. We don't realize how bad stress is for our bodies. Like it is not good. It is not good. And we would hire holistic doctors because Western medicine, they couldn't figure out what to do with us.
Mhm.
And my husband and I went to holistic doctors because our backs were in pain and our lungs were my lungs were flaring up. I went through a 12-month time period where I was only healthy for like 6 weeks. And these holistic doctors were like, if you do not slow down, you will not have a life to enjoy. And that was okay. That's where the personal freedom comes in. Like if you do not slow down, and we were very driven people, like, it is a good thing, but also you need to balance it with rest. Like you can max out,
Yeah.
but you have to have the maximum rest time. You can only max out for a short period of time. The rest has to be bigger. The rest time has to be just, you have to nourish yourself so that you can continue to keep going.
And that's the hardest thing for most of us, especially for me.
Wow.
But so you've been giving us great advice all along about how to find that personal financial freedom. And I want to take a moment now to really talk about the different strategies that you could share with us so that we can start doing this work as well. So, what are some of those strategies?
So some of the strategies I recommend is one, read books. Reading books. My book you can get for $25 or less. If the audio version's $20. I did record an audio version. It is literally the most cost-effective method of learning, of starting, of growing that you can do. Listen to podcasts right here, like this. Get started of nourishing yourself with mindset. The next strategy for me, after you do all this mindset stuff and meditation, I love that. I love exercise. That's got to be a key one. But the monetary strategies for me is real estate. So I've been talking about that a lot. And one of the things I am educating people on now is how to get started in real estate. How do you get started in real estate? I have done this. What we have done, we live in a town of 5,000 people in the rural Midwest. If I can do this, there is somebody like me in every little itty bitty town. Every little itty bitty town has somebody or a few somebodies like me everywhere. And it's not hard to do. It is one of those things where when I got my real estate license, I thought that I was downgrading my life because I had a master's degree in education. I was like, oh, I have a master's degree as a teacher, and now here I am paying $300 and some for a real estate license. Like, who am I anymore? Who am I? And then I realized in my first year of being a real estate agent, I made $100 and some $1,000 without even trying and without even wanting to do it. And I'm like, oh, I guess it's not so bad after all. I guess this isn't so bad. And then we started building homes and investing in real estate with the money from building homes. And in one of the properties we had, we turned a $25,000 investment into a property into several millions. Like we only put 25,000 of our own money into something that we have 10x'd. We have literally 10x. We have rolled that money. And if I can just teach people how to do that, buying property, flipping them, doing 1031 exchanges, buying other property, like you can literally roll your money into such greater things than putting it in IRAs or putting it in this. Well, I'm not familiar with stock market that much because I do real estate, but just these things that those are my strategies is do the inner work, read the books, listen to podcasts. You can read books and listen to podcasts about real estate too, about financial freedom, about how to grow your wealth, and read personal development and self-help books along the way so that you are also aligning yourself. You don't want to just go all in on money and not think about relationships, health, recreation, family, friendships. Because if you don't have all of those other pillars, this is also something I teach. I teach courses on building out your mindset and financials. And then I also offer mentorship on real estate investing. So anyway, those are just some things that I recommend.
Oh, these are great. And a couple of things that popped out as you were giving us those strategies. One of them is we need to redefine success for ourselves because you are sharing, I have a master's, I'm supposed to be teaching, and I'm downgrading with a real estate license. And then you're like, wait, but I'm successful here. So we just have to redefine success. We have certain notions of success and what we're supposed to do career-wise. It's almost like a little bit of brainwashing. You have to be this cookie cutter thing. No, you could be like a puzzle. You could have 6, 7 pieces to you in terms of your financial freedom or your career. And you're an example of that, but that conversation and how you were talking about your process brought that out as well. So I hope you're all taking notes, listeners, because I'm telling you, there's great stuff here. The other thing is real estate. I myself am engaged in real estate, so I know the power of real estate. as a source of income. So definitely it's something you can get started. You can start small, build on it. I was very fortunate to start through family, so that helped me a lot. But it doesn't matter what you're doing in life. If you're interested in real estate, you can do that and something else if you want. It doesn't have to be one thing only.
100%. 100%. Awesome. And congratulations to you for doing real estate. I love that.
No, and we were talking, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so right. This is a great way to do this. Yep. And
Yeah.
so no, and it's an eye opener. It's definitely a great source of income, a nice revenue stream for anyone who's interested in trying it out, a little bit more rental units or buying property and flipping them. I don't flip, I rent. So that's my experience. I would love to get into flipping one day. It sounds fun.
Yeah. It's good to do both. It's good to do both. We do both. We do commercial real estate. We have mobile home parks. We have land, just farmland. We've done it all. We have duplexes and multi-units and apartment buildings and just a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. The other lesson I learned in our conversation is about our pillars and what does it mean to be whole. And there's so many things we need. So I think a lot of times we ignore one or two things in the process of life, or four or five or six, like friends and family and physical health and resting, self-care. And you talked a lot about these different pillars. So definitely for all of you, what are the pillars that you should have to be whole, healthy, having that personal and financial freedom we're talking about, and then do an analysis like a doctor. Where are you stronger? Where are you weaker? What can you do to bring that level up in that pillar? So I love that lesson as well that you share with us in the conversation.
Actually, now that you mentioned that, I have a VIP Building Dreams boot camp that I offer people that goes along with my book. So it was meant to be a course that follows along with my book. So I have work pages in my book that you can work through. So it's like a workbook and a book. And then I have this VIP Building Dreams boot camp where the first thing that I have everybody do is fill out their wheel of life. So their wheel of life, I think there's 8 pieces to the pie or whatever. And you go through and figure out where you are on a scale of 1 to 10 in health, career, finances, family, intimate relationships, friends, and all of these different areas. And then at the end of the course, I have people fill it out again to see if any of those spots just went up, even just 1 point or 1 space, if it went from 6 to 7. And then at the beginning, I also have everybody say, okay, here's where I'm at. I'm a 6 on career. And I will have them say, okay, if you were a 10 in this area, what does that look like? Because like you said, success means something different to everyone. So what does a 10 look like in finances to you? What does a 10 look like in love or intimate relationships? In all of those different areas, or health, or friendships, all of those different areas, because I really think that is so important. And I think that it's overlooked, and it's something I overlooked a lot as I was building my career.
Well, there you go. So there's a pre-test and a post-test, like a
Yeah,
doctor, like blood work when you go to the doctor, check out to see how you're doing with your wheel at the beginning and then at the end. And I think that's really good for you to pick up those habits of gauging yourself and your life and looking to see, what do I need to shift? Because sometimes we go in go, go, go mode. And that's all we do. And we don't pause to see if this is working, if this is not working. Do I need to offload this? Do I have enough of that? And this helps us pause and look at that.
totally.
Think about
100%.
that. We've talked about your company, how you got here, your book, strategies for personal financial freedom. I wanted to see if there was anything else you wanted to share with us that we didn't get to discuss in this interview yet, that I didn't ask you that question.
Yeah, I feel like we covered a lot in a little bit of time. And I think that the thing I just want to leave people with is, this is your life. This is your one shot. This is it. This is it. Like, whatever dream you have, don't worry about what Aunt Sue said about it's not going to work out, or who this cousin or that friend or whatever anybody tells you. Like, if this is your dream, you need to take it seriously, because the reason you have this dream is because it's meant for you. It is meant for you. And it is time for you to go after your dreams. It is time for you not to hold back. This is it. This is not, you're not getting a redo at life. So go for it. Go for it. Learn all that you can. Get mentors and help. Do not try to go at life by yourself, and have fun. So that is the thing I want to leave people with. And just, if I can help in any way, if my book can help you in any way, I would love that. Reach out, let me know. Would love to help people in any way that we can.
Wow, this is your one shot, your one life. I love that.
Huh.
And so, take action, lead your life. How can we reach you? How can we learn more about you? And for our listeners, this information is also in the description, so you'll be able to click on the links or copy and paste into your browser. But tell us here, how can we find you?
So I have an open email for people to email me at hello@buildingdreams.co, or just go to buildingdreams.co, which is the website for all of the personal development stuff we have. And you'll also have a link to any real estate stuff that we offer as well. So check out my website, buildingdreams.co. Follow me on social media at Ms. Becky Hurley. So MS Becky, BECKY HURLEY. So would love to follow you or have you follow me on Instagram and keep in touch that way as well.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for being here with us today. I learned quite a lot. I know it's time for me to reassess. I'm in that process and determine what I'm going to do for the rest of the year to navigate my life in the right way. I know our listeners got a lot from you today. So thank you so much for being here and sharing all these tips and strategies and your experiences with us.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for having me, Jacqueline. I appreciate it. It's been fun.
Yes, this is wonderful conversation. And to our listeners, thank you for listening, and keep listening to other episodes at Coffee and an Interview.